All right, guys, drywall. What is it? It's that 4x8, 4x12, 4x whatever giant sheets that go on the inside of the house and really form the interior walls. Did you know that USG Corporation, that's America's largest manufacturer of gypsum-based products, they entered the gypsum board market in 1909 and created the first commercially viable wallboard known under the brand name sheetrock in 1917, thus introducing drywall as we know it today. Sometimes as builders we use those terms interchangeably, but sheetrock is actually a registered trademark of USG, who basically invented the product. These days they're a world leader in the category, but in this video my buddy Brent Hull is going to actually break down the history. If you don't know Brent, he is an absolute master craftsman, master builder in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he's been shooting with the Build Show since the very beginning. I know Brent when he had a TV show years ago on the Discovery Channel called Lone Star Rising. I loved Brent from the get-go. I introduced myself and said, Brent, when we start the Build Show, you've got to be on it. So Brent's been shooting now since the very get-go on thebuildshow.com or Build Show Network as you might know it. Check out this video with the entire history from Brent Hull of Drywall. Let's get going.
While I was doing research on a product that we had discovered on that 1928 house, I actually found out what the history of sheetrock is and why they started making it in the 20s. Come find out today on The Build Show.
And he's using standard or plain gypsum lath, which in recent years has become the national favorite.
I don't know if you remember my 1928 house, the Staub house that we're doing, that English revival house. In the walls of that house, we found this weird fibrous material. And it wasn't sheetrock. It was weird looking, right? And so it broke apart. It had held up pretty good, but we weren't sure why I was there. So I started doing research. I started looking at some of my old catalogs. In fact, one of my great resources is this book, okay? The Home Builder's Catalog, okay? This was 1927. I've got a 28 and a 29. 29's much smaller because of the Depression. Anyway, this is a great resource book for me because what I can do is I can actually go into this book and actually find products that would be put in houses in that period of time. I don't know if you remember the one we did on the kernerator, that gas thing that kind of burnt trash. That's in the Home Builder's Catalog. So if you're an old house guy and you want to find some great resources, that Home Builder's Catalog are awesome, okay? And if you're in commercial construction, the Suites catalogs are awesome, all from that period. So I'm looking in the 20s catalogs and I find all these different products for sheetrock, okay? There's Beaver board, there's Insa board, there's all these different brand names of companies that are developing a new lath, okay? And so if you remember, plaster, interior plaster was set on wood lath. Wood lath would be small strips of wood that would be, nailed, probably, I don't know, 1/4 inch apart, 3/8 of an inch apart, and you would put plaster into there. It would kind of lock in, and then you put your finish coats over it. Remember, you have a 3-coat plaster, you have a ground coat, brown coat, and then your final plaster. Well, that's very labor intensive. And so what they were doing at this time, they were developing gypsum, okay, and US Gypsum, the sheetrock people, right? They were developing a new lath. And that's actually what drywall, sheetrock, was originally a replacement for wood lath, okay? So you have wood lath from, I don't know, early stuff, but the strips from 1850 into the 1920s. You have wire lath, okay, which was a little more stable, oftentimes more in commercial buildings, 1900 to 1930, okay, and then they come and they start inventing sheetrock. Now, sheetrock was really fascinating because they were trying to sell it to the homeowners and to everybody else as a ease of remodeling, as a perfect replacement for in a garage, but it was a time-saving, okay, way of building, so that instead of 2 coats of plaster and your finish coat, you would put sheetrock on and just put your finish coat on, okay? So it was a labor-saving time thing, and you see from the catalog from the 1920s into the 1940s that they were really trying to sell this, and then after World War II it takes off and it becomes kind of a common product. Of course, they're in 99% of all houses today. So at the same time that you have the sheetrock, trying to figure out how to do this, you also have these same companies creating exterior sheething, okay? And one of those projects was called INSA board, okay? INSO board, okay? INSA board was a insulating board that was apparently just as strong as your other structural materials. It didn't burn. It really was saving on the energy bill. So what I think happened in our 1928 house is that you'll remember there is no sheathing on that house. There's a small 1940s edition that has some wood sheathing, but on the exterior, it's that fibrous board, and we think it's either Celotex or INSA board, okay? Those are the two of the brand names at the time, but it was a insulating property board that was supposed to be just as structurally strong, and it was used, you know, during that time. Now, we've worked on another Staub house, and I know that he was using sheetrock in that house from the 1920s. So maybe Staub, maybe this architect was kind of cutting edge, saw this as a new product that he should be putting into his houses, saw it as a problem solver, right? That this helps insulate things. Didn't think of the shearing quality. He was told it's just as strong. But it's a fascinating way to look at building during this time period and how things were changing, how things were advancing. And of course, you know, all my Build Show buddies, Matt and Steve and Jake and all these guys are going to laugh at the insulated qualities of, you know, this INSA board, because it's basically a fibrous, it's like straw, right? It's really, it kind of breaks apart like a fibrous material, but there's no, the seams aren't taped. You know, it's certainly when it gets wet, it begins to disintegrate and fall apart. But looking back at the past, kind of a fun thing that we get to see how change happens, right? We use sheetrock today. How did we switch from plaster to sheetrock? What happened? Well, it was a slow, gradual thing that happened over a 20 to 30 year period, which is really fascinating to me, and I hope it's something you guys can learn too. Okay, guys, kind of a geeking out here session today for me, but really finding out the history of sheetrock, that it was a replacement for wood lath, right? It was a faster, cheaper way to build. When you think about the uniformity of sheetrock and you think about laying a plaster bed that is flat and clean, sheetrock does solve a lot of those problems, and I do think it sped up production building without compromising quality too much, right? A lot of new inventions and new things are cheap knockoffs. Sheetrock, you know, I'd love to hear what you guys think if you disagree or agree with me, but I would think that sheetrock was something that actually did improve quality, but there wasn't a great loss of craftsmanship. I can go back and forth. I can argue with myself. I'd love to hear what you think. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. There are a lot of behind the scenes things. Sign up for the newsletter. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. A lot of fun things we're doing here all the time. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.
Guys, go follow Brent on his Instagram. He's an incredible man. His company is unbelievable. And his videos on a weekly basis will turn you into literally a master builder. This guy is a gem. By the way, Brent is hosting us this year at Build Show Live. And about the time this video goes live, we're going to be really close to unveiling our tickets this year for Build Show Live in Dallas. We're going to actually go to some of Brent's job sites. Brent's going to be giving us the keynote, and he's got a couple-hour master builder class. I want to sit through anything I can when Brent is teaching. This guy is fabulous. With that being said, guys, hit that subscribe button. We've got new content here every Friday. Best of on Tuesdays right now. We'll see you next time on The Build Show.